Hi everyone, I'm John, and I want to share my story. At 35, I thought I had it all figured out. A loving wife, a peaceful home, and a deep, unshakable faith in God. But life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect them. What I'm about to share is a journey that tested my faith, my love, and my very understanding of forgiveness. Our life together had been, by all accounts, wonderful. We weren't rich, but we were content. Anna's art career was taking off, and I was running a small but successful landscaping business. We had our fair share of challenges, like any couple, but we always faced them head-on, relying on our faith and each other. One of the things I cherished most about our relationship was our spiritual connection. We attended church every Sunday, participated in Bible studies, and volunteered in our community. Our faith was the cornerstone of our marriage, and I believed it made us stronger. But sometimes, even the strongest foundations can be shaken. What I didn't know was that beneath the surface of our seemingly perfect life, there were cracks forming. Cracks that would soon threaten to tear everything apart. It all started with a subtle change. Anna became more distant, spending longer hours in her studio and less time with me. At first, I didn't think much of it. She was passionate about her work, and I admired that. But as weeks turned into months, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. One evening, as I was cleaning up after dinner, I noticed Anna's phone buzzing on the counter. It was a text message from a name I didn't recognize. Curiosity got the better of me, and I glanced at the screen. The message was innocent enough, but something about it didn't sit right with me. I brushed it off, convincing myself that I was being paranoid. But as the days went by, more messages came in. Anna became more secretive, always keeping her phone close and turning it face down whenever I was around. My mind raced with possibilities, but I couldn't bring myself to confront her. Instead, I tried to push the doubts away, focusing on my work and praying for clarity. Our morning routine continued, but there was a growing tension between us. I tried to talk to Anna about it, but she always seemed distracted, giving vague responses or changing the subject. It felt like there was an invisible wall between us, and I didn't know how to break it down. One weekend, we went on a retreat with our church. I hoped that the time away would help us reconnect and maybe even address whatever was bothering Anna. The retreat was held at a beautiful, secluded campsite. We spent our days in prayer and reflection, and our nights around a campfire, sharing stories and laughter with our friends. On the last night of the retreat, there was a special prayer service. As we sat together in the small chapel, I felt a wave of emotion wash over me. I prayed for guidance, for strength, and for the courage to face whatever was coming. As I looked over at Anna, I saw tears streaming down her face. She squeezed my hand and whispered, "I love you, John." In that moment, I felt a glimmer of hope. But that hope was short-lived. When we returned home, things quickly went back to the way they were. The distance between us grew wider, and I felt more alone than ever. I tried to stay positive, reminding myself of our vows and the love we shared. But the doubts gnawed at me, keeping me up at night. One particularly restless night, I decided to talk to our pastor. He had been a guiding light for us throughout our marriage, and I trusted his wisdom. We met at a local cafe, and over cups of coffee, I poured out my heart. I told him about the changes I'd noticed in Anna, the messages, and my growing fears. He listened patiently, offering words of comfort and advice. "John," he said, "marriage is a journey, and sometimes, we face obstacles that test our faith and commitment. It's important to communicate with Anna and let her know how you're feeling. Trust in God, and He will guide you." With renewed determination, I went home that evening, ready to talk to Anna. But as I walked through the door, I found her sitting on the couch, her face pale and tear-streaked. "John, we need to talk," she said, her voice trembling. My heart sank. I knew this was it. The moment I had been dreading was finally here. When I walked through the door that evening, I found Anna sitting on the couch, her face pale and tear-streaked. "John, we need to talk," she said, her voice trembling. My heart sank. I knew this was it. The moment I had been dreading was finally here. I sat down next to her, my mind racing with 1,000 possibilities. The air between us was thick with tension. I could hear the ticking of the clock on the wall, each second dragging on painfully. "What's wrong, Anna?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She took a deep breath, her hands shaking. "John, I don't know how to say this," she began. "There's something I need to tell you, something I've been hiding. I've made a terrible mistake." Her words hung in the air like a dark cloud, and my heart pounded in my chest. I felt a cold sweat break out across my forehead. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. The room seemed to close in around me, the walls pressing in as I braced myself for the worst. Anna looked down at her hands, unable to meet my gaze. "I've been seeing someone else," she admitted, her voice breaking. "It started out as just a friendship, but it became something more. I never meant for it to happen, but it did. I'm so sorry, John. I've betrayed you." The world seemed to tilt on its axis. My vision blurred, and I felt like I was falling into a void. A million thoughts raced through my mind: anger, betrayal, confusion. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Anna, the woman I had loved and trusted with my whole heart, had been unfaithful. For a moment, I couldn't speak. I was too stunned to form words. When I finally found my voice, it came out as a strangled whisper. "Why, Anna? Why did you do this?" I asked, the pain evident in my voice. Tears streamed down her face as she tried to explain. "I don't know, John. I was feeling lonely, and he was there. It just happened. I never wanted to hurt you, but I know I have. I've made a mess of everything." The anger began to boil within me, mixing with the hurt and confusion. "Who is he?" I demanded, my voice rising. "How long has this been going on?" Anna looked up at me, her eyes filled with guilt and regret. "His name is Mark. He's someone I met at the art studio. It's been going on for a few months. I'm so sorry, John. I never wanted it to go this far." I stood up abruptly, unable to contain the torrent of emotions raging inside me. "A few months? You've been lying to me for months?" I shouted, the words echoing through the room. "How could you do this to us, to our marriage?" Anna sobbed, burying her face in her hands. "I don't know, John. I don't know. I've been so confused and lost. I'm so sorry." I felt a deep, searing pain in my chest, as if my heart was being ripped apart. The woman I had loved and trusted had betrayed me in the most profound way possible. I didn't know what to think, what to feel. All I knew was that everything I believed in, everything I held dear, had been shattered. In the midst of my turmoil, a part of me wanted to lash out, to say hurtful things, to make her feel the pain I was feeling. But another part of me, the part that had always believed in forgiveness and love, held me back. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. "Anna," I said, my voice trembling, "I need some time to think. I need to be alone right now." Without waiting for a response, I walked out of the house, the weight of her confession bearing down on me like a ton of bricks. As I wandered through the quiet streets of our town, I felt a wave of despair wash over me. How could this have happened? How could the woman I loved have betrayed me so completely? I thought about the years we had spent together, the memories we had made, the dreams we had shared. And now, all of it seemed tainted, corrupted by her infidelity. I found myself at the edge of a small park, the same park where we had spent so many happy afternoons together. I sank down onto a bench, burying my face in my hands. The tears came then, hot and unrelenting. I cried for the loss of the life I thought I had, for the love that had been betrayed, for the future that now seemed so uncertain. In that moment of anguish, I turned to God, seeking solace and guidance. "Lord," I prayed, my voice choked with emotion, "please help me. Show me the way. Give me the strength to face this. I don't know what to do." I don't know how to move forward. As I sat there, pouring my heart out in prayer, I felt a sense of calm begin to wash over me. It was a faint glimmer of hope, a reminder that I was not alone, that God was with me, even in the darkest of times. I took a deep breath, feeling a small measure of peace amidst the storm. The road ahead was uncertain, and I knew it would not be easy. But in that moment, I made a promise to myself. I would face this challenge with faith and courage. I would seek God's guidance in every step. And no matter what, I would strive to find a way to forgive, to heal, and to rebuild. The journey was just beginning, and I had no idea where it would lead. But with God by my side, I knew I could find the strength to keep going, to face whatever lay ahead. And so, with a heavy heart but a glimmer of hope, I stood up and began the long walk back home, ready to confront the trials that awaited me. I walked back to the house, my mind a whirlwind of emotions. The cool night air did little to soothe the turmoil within me. Each step felt heavy, as if I were trudging through quicksand. I knew that when I got home, I would have to face Anna again, and the thought filled me with a mixture of dread and determination. As I opened the front door, the house was eerily silent. Anna was still on the couch, her eyes red and swollen from crying. She looked up at me, her face a mask of sorrow and regret. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the confrontation that was about to unfold. "John, please," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you." I held up a hand to stop her. "Anna, I need you to be honest with me. I need to understand why this happened. How did we get here?" My voice was calm, but inside, I was a maelstrom of anger, hurt, and confusion. Anna took a deep breath, as if gathering the courage to speak. "I've been feeling so lost, John. So disconnected. I thought I could handle it on my own, but I couldn't. Mark, he was there. He listened when I needed someone to talk to. It started as just a friendship, but it became more. I never wanted it to go this far, but I was weak. I made a terrible mistake." I clenched my fists, trying to keep my emotions in check. "You felt disconnected? Why didn't you talk to me, Anna? Why didn't you come to me instead of turning to someone else?" She shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "I tried, John. I really did. But every time I looked at you, I saw someone who had everything together, who didn't need my problems on top of his own. I didn't want to burden you." Her words cut deep. I had always tried to be strong for us, to be the rock that our relationship was built on. But in doing so, had I unknowingly pushed her away? The realization was like a punch to the gut. "Anna, you're my wife. We're supposed to share our burdens, not hide them from each other," I said, my voice breaking. "I would have done anything to help you, to support you. But instead, you turned to someone else. You betrayed me." The room was thick with tension, the weight of her betrayal hanging heavy in the air. Anna sobbed, her shoulders shaking with the force of her cries. "I know, John. I know I've hurt you in the worst possible way. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm begging you, please, give me a chance to make things right." I stared at her, the woman I had vowed to love and cherish. The pain in my heart was almost unbearable, but beneath it all, there was still love. A flicker of the bond that had held us together for so many years. I knew that forgiveness would not come easily, and the road to healing would be long and arduous. But in that moment, I made a choice. "Anna," I said slowly, "I don't know if I can ever fully forgive you. But I'm willing to try. For us. For our marriage. But it's going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of work. Are you willing to do that?" She nodded fervently, her eyes filled with a mixture of hope and desperation. "Yes, John. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I love you, and I want to make this right." The first confrontation was a painful, emotional roller coaster, but it was also a turning point. The raw honesty and the acknowledgement of our mutual pain set the stage for what would come next. We were at the beginning of a long journey, one that would test our faith and our love in ways we couldn't yet imagine. That night, we talked for hours, laying bare our souls and our fears. It was a difficult conversation, filled with tears and regrets, but it was also the first step toward healing. We decided to seek counseling, both individually and as a couple, to help us navigate the turbulent waters ahead. As I lay in bed that night, exhausted and emotionally drained, I prayed for strength and guidance. I knew that the path to forgiveness and reconciliation would not be easy, but with God's help, I believed it was possible. Anna's betrayal had shattered my world, but it had also revealed cracks in our relationship that needed to be mended. The journey was just beginning, and there would be many more confrontations and challenges ahead. But for the first time since that terrible revelation, I felt a glimmer of hope. With faith, love, and a lot of hard work, we might just find a way to heal and rebuild what had been broken. The days that followed were some of the hardest of my life. The weight of Anna's betrayal was always with me, a constant reminder of the fragility of our love. I knew that if we were going to have any chance of moving forward, I needed to find answers, both from within myself and from those I trusted. I decided to take a few days off work to clear my mind and seek guidance. The first place I went was our church. It was early in the morning when I arrived, the sun just beginning to rise and cast its light through the stained glass windows. The church was quiet, almost serene, and I felt a sense of peace wash over me as I walked down the aisle. I found our pastor in his office, preparing for the day ahead. He looked up as I knocked on the door, a warm smile spreading across his face. "John, come in," he said, gesturing to a chair. "What brings you here so early?" I sat down, feeling the weight of my emotions pressing down on me. "Pastor, I need your help," I began, my voice trembling. "Anna, she's been unfaithful. I don't know what to do. I'm lost." His smile faded, replaced by a look of concern and compassion. "I'm so sorry to hear that, John. Infidelity is a painful trial. But remember, you're not alone in this. God is with you, and He will guide you through it." I took a deep breath, struggling to hold back the tears. "I want to forgive her, Pastor. I want to move forward, but I don't know how. Every time I look at her, all I can think about is her betrayal. How do I get past this?" He leaned back in his chair, his eyes thoughtful. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things we're called to do as Christians. It doesn't mean forgetting the pain or pretending it didn't happen. It means choosing to let go of the bitterness and resentment, trusting that God will bring healing in His time. I nodded, trying to absorb his words. "But how do I do that? How do I let go of the anger and hurt?" "Start with prayer," he advised. "Pray for strength, for wisdom, and for the ability to forgive. It's a process, John. It won't happen overnight, but with God's help, you can find the peace you're seeking. And don't be afraid to seek counseling. Sometimes, we need a professional to help us navigate these difficult waters." I left the church feeling a little lighter, armed with a sense of purpose. My next stop was a counselor's office. I had never been to therapy before, but I knew I needed someone to help me sort through the tangled mess of my emotions. The counselor, Dr. Williams, was a kind and empathetic woman who listened patiently as I poured out my heart. She asked thoughtful questions, helping me to delve deeper into my feelings and fears. "John, it's natural to feel anger and betrayal," she said. "But it's important to recognize that healing is a journey. You need to allow yourself the time and space to process these emotions." We talked about strategies for coping with the pain, including journaling, mindfulness, and setting boundaries with Anna while we worked through our issues. She also emphasized the importance of communication. "You and Anna need to rebuild trust," she said. "That starts with open, honest conversations about your feelings and expectations." I left her office feeling more hopeful. The road ahead was still daunting, but I felt better equipped to handle the challenges. That evening, I sat down with Anna and told her about my day. We talked about the pastor's advice and the counselor's insights. It was a difficult conversation, but it was a step in the right direction. In the days that followed, I spent a lot of time in reflection and prayer. I found solace in the quiet moments, whether it was reading my Bible in the early morning light or taking long walks in the park. I sought God's guidance, asking for the strength to forgive and the wisdom to navigate this painful chapter of my life. One afternoon, while sitting on a bench in the park, I felt a sense of clarity. I realized that forgiveness wasn't just about Anna, it was also about me. Holding on to the anger and bitterness was like drinking poison and expecting her to suffer. If I was going to find peace, I needed to let go, not for her sake, but for mine. I started to focus on the positives, on the love that had brought us together and the good times we had shared. It wasn't easy, and there were days when the pain felt overwhelming. But I reminded myself of the pastor's words, forgiveness is a choice, and healing is a journey. I also leaned on my friends and family for support. I confided in a few close friends, sharing my struggles and seeking their advice. Their support and understanding were invaluable, reminding me that I wasn't alone in this. They encouraged me to keep fighting for my marriage, to keep believing in the power of love and forgiveness. As the weeks passed, I began to see small signs of progress. Anna and I started going to couples counseling, and our sessions were intense but productive. We talked about our fears, our regrets, and our hopes for the future. We learned to communicate better, to be more honest and vulnerable with each other. Through it all, I continued to seek God's guidance. I prayed for patience, for strength, and for the ability to see Anna not as the woman who had betrayed me, but as the woman I had fallen in love with all those years ago. Slowly but surely, I began to feel a sense of peace returning to my heart. The search for answers wasn't easy, and there were no quick fixes or simple solutions. But through prayer, counseling, and the support of loved ones, I found a path forward. I learned that forgiveness is a journey, one that requires patience, faith, and a willingness to let go of the past. In the end, the answers I found weren't just about Anna's betrayal, they were about me, about our marriage, and about the power of faith and love to heal even the deepest wounds. The road to recovery was long and fraught with challenges, but with God's help, I knew we could overcome them. And that knowledge gave me the strength to keep going, one step at a time. It was a crisp autumn afternoon when the revelation came. Anna and I had been attending couples counseling regularly, and while there were still moments of intense pain and doubt, we were making progress. The counselor had encouraged us to spend more time together, to rebuild our connection through shared activities and honest communication. One Saturday, we decided to take a hike in the nearby hills. The air was cool and fresh, and the leaves were turning brilliant shades of red and gold. It was the perfect day to be outside, away from the distractions of everyday life, to focus on each other and our healing journey. As we walked along the winding trail, the conversation started out light, reminiscing about past hikes, talking about work, and sharing dreams for the future. But as we reached a quiet clearing with a stunning view of the valley below, the conversation took a deeper turn. Anna stopped and took a deep breath, looking out over the landscape. "John," she said softly, "there's something I need to tell you. Something I've been struggling with, but I think it's important for us to move forward." I turned to her, my heart pounding. "What is it, Anna?" She looked down at her hands, her face filled with a mixture of fear and resolve. "I've been praying a lot, asking God for guidance. And I realized that part of the reason I turned to Mark was because I felt like I had lost myself. I was so focused on being your wife and supporting you that I forgot who I was." Her words hit me like a wave. I had been so consumed with my own pain and betrayal that I hadn't considered how Anna might have been feeling. "Anna, I'm so sorry," I said, my voice filled with regret. "I never wanted you to feel that way. I love you for who you are, not just for what you do for me." She nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. "I know that now. But I need to find myself again, to rediscover who I am outside of our marriage. And I think the only way I can do that is to take some time apart." The ground seemed to shift beneath my feet. "You want to separate?" I asked, struggling to keep my voice steady. She shook her head. "Not permanently. Just for a little while. I need to figure out who I am and what I want, and I can't do that while I'm here, trying to fix everything at once." I think it will help us both to take a step back, to heal individually so we can come back stronger together. The thought of being apart from Anna was painful, but as I looked into her eyes, I saw the sincerity and determination there. She wasn't giving up on us, she was fighting for us in her own way. And deep down, I knew she was right. We both needed to heal, to find our own strength before we could truly rebuild our marriage. "Okay, Anna," I said finally, my voice trembling. "If this is what you need, I support you. But promise me that we'll keep communicating, that we won't lose sight of what we're working towards." She reached out and took my hand, her grip firm and reassuring. "I promise, John. This isn't the end for us, it's just a new beginning. I love you, and I believe we can come out of this stronger than ever." With those words, a sense of clarity washed over me. The revelation was painful, but it was also liberating. We were both committed to healing, to finding ourselves so we could come back together with renewed love and purpose. It was a difficult decision, but it was the right one. In the weeks that followed, Anna and I made arrangements for our temporary separation. She moved into a small apartment nearby, and we set up a schedule for regular communication and counseling sessions. It was strange and painful to be apart, but it also gave us the space we needed to reflect and grow. During this time, I focused on my own healing. I continued my sessions with Dr. Williams, delving deeper into my own fears and insecurities. I spent more time in prayer and reflection, seeking God's guidance and strength. I also reconnected with old friends and hobbies, rediscovering parts of myself that I had neglected. Anna did the same, immersing herself in her art and exploring new interests. She also sought counseling, working through her own emotions and struggles. We both grew in ways we hadn't anticipated, finding new depths of strength and understanding. As the months passed, we began to see the fruits of our efforts. Our communication improved, and we started to rebuild the trust that had been shattered. We shared our individual journeys with each other, finding common ground and new appreciation for one another. The decision to separate had been difficult, but it had also been transformative. It allowed us to heal as individuals, which in turn strengthened our bond as a couple. We were learning to love each other in a deeper, more authentic way, grounded in honesty and mutual respect. Eventually, the time came for us to reunite. We both felt ready, not because all the pain had disappeared, but because we had grown stronger and more resilient. We had faced our demons, both individually and together, and we were ready to start a new chapter in our marriage. On the day Anna moved back home, we stood together in our living room, holding hands and looking into each other's eyes. "We made it," I said softly, my heart filled with gratitude and hope. Anna smiled, her eyes shining with tears. "Yes, we did. And I believe we're stronger for it. Thank you for believing in us, John." I pulled her into a hug, holding her close as the weight of our journey settled over us. We had faced the darkest of times, but we had come out the other side, united and stronger. With God's grace and our unwavering commitment, we were ready to rebuild our life together, one step at a time. The months that followed Anna's return home were a mix of joy and challenge. We were both determined to make our marriage work, but the shadow of her betrayal still lingered. The process of rebuilding trust was slow and sometimes painful, but we faced it together, with honesty and faith. One evening, about 6 months after Anna moved back, we decided to have dinner at our favorite restaurant, a cozy little place where we had shared many happy moments. It felt like a fitting place to reflect on how far we had come and to discuss our future. As we sat at our table, the familiar ambience brought back memories of better times. We ordered our meals and began to talk about our journey, the ups and downs, and the progress we had made. There was a sense of closeness that had been missing for a long time, a rekindling of the bond that had once seemed unbreakable. "John," Anna said, her voice filled with emotion, "I'm so grateful for your forgiveness and your love. I know it hasn't been easy, and I want you to know how much I appreciate everything you've done to help us heal." I reached across the table and took her hand, feeling the warmth and sincerity in her words. "Anna, I couldn't have done it without you. We both had to work hard to get here, and I'm proud of us for not giving up." Our conversation was interrupted by the arrival of our food, and we ate in comfortable silence for a while, savoring the meal and the moment. As we finished our desserts, I felt a sense of peace, a feeling that we were finally turning a corner. But just as I was about to suggest we head home, a familiar figure walked into the restaurant. It was Mark. He didn't see us at first, but when his eyes met Anna's, I saw a flicker of recognition and discomfort. He quickly looked away, but the damage was done. The air between us grew tense, and I felt a surge of emotions, anger, hurt, and a deep-seated fear. Anna's hand tightened around mine, her eyes wide with panic. "John, I'm so sorry. I had no idea he'd be here." I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. "It's okay, Anna. Let's just focus on us. We've come too far to let this ruin our night." But the peace I had felt was shattered. Seeing Mark brought back all the pain and betrayal, the memories I had tried so hard to overcome. I could see that Anna was struggling too, her eyes filled with regret and anxiety. We decided to leave, and as we walked out of the restaurant, I felt a heavy weight on my chest. The drive home was silent, each of us lost in our thoughts. When we arrived, we sat down in the living room, the tension palpable. "John, please talk to me," Anna said, her voice trembling. "I can see how much this has affected you, and I hate that I'm the cause of it." I looked at her, the woman I loved, the woman who had hurt me so deeply, and I felt a mixture of emotions. "Anna, seeing him tonight brought back a lot of pain. It's not your fault he was there, but it made me realize that I still have a lot of healing to do." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I understand. And I'm here for you, John. Whatever you need, I'm willing to do. I just want us to be happy again." We talked for hours that night, laying bare our fears and our hopes. We confronted the consequences of her actions head-on, acknowledging that while we had made progress, there was still a long road ahead. We agreed to continue counseling, both individually and as a couple, to ensure that we were addressing the lingering issues. The final confrontation was a turning point. It forced us to face the reality that healing is a continuous process, one that requires constant effort and commitment. We learned that it's okay to have setbacks, as long as we face them together and continue to work towards our goals. Through this experience, I learned the true meaning of forgiveness. It's not about erasing the past or pretending the pain doesn't exist. It's about choosing to move forward, to let go of the bitterness, and to focus on rebuilding trust and love. It's about understanding that healing takes time and that it's okay to seek help along the way. Anna and I emerged from that night stronger and more united. We understood that our journey was far from over, but we were committed to facing whatever came our way, together. The lessons we learned were invaluable, about ourselves, about each other, and about the power of faith and love. In the end, the confrontation with Mark was a reminder of how far we had come and how much further we still had to go. But it also reinforced our commitment to each other and to the process of healing. We knew that with God's guidance and our unwavering dedication, we could overcome any obstacle and continue to build a future filled with love, trust, and happiness. The months following that fateful night were filled with hard work, honesty, and a renewed commitment to our marriage. Anna and I continued our counseling sessions, both individually and together. We faced our issues head-on, with a determination to rebuild our relationship stronger than ever. One sunny afternoon, about a year after our initial separation, we decided to revisit the park where we had often walked during the early days of our relationship. It had always been a place of tranquility and reflection for us. As we strolled along the familiar paths, the leaves rustling gently in the breeze, I felt a sense of peace that had been absent for so long. We found a quiet spot by the lake and sat down on a bench. The water shimmered in the sunlight, and ducks glided across the surface, creating gentle ripples. It was the perfect setting for the conversation we were about to have. Anna took my hand, her eyes filled with love and sincerity. "John, I've been thinking a lot about everything we've been through. I want you to know how deeply sorry I am for the pain I caused you. But more than that, I want you to know how grateful I am for your forgiveness and for the chance to rebuild our life together." I squeezed her hand, feeling a surge of emotion. Anna, I've thought about it a lot too. Forgiving you wasn't easy, and it took a lot of soul-searching and prayer. But I realized that holding on to the past would only keep us from moving forward. I love you, and I believe in us. We've come a long way, and I'm proud of the work we've done. We sat in silence for a moment, taking in the beauty of our surroundings and the significance of our journey. The park had always been a place of new beginnings for us, and it seemed fitting that we were here now, marking a new chapter in our lives. John, Anna said softly, I know we still have work to do, but I feel like we're finally finding our way back to each other. I'm committed to making this work, to being the best partner I can be. I want us to build a future filled with love, trust, and happiness. I looked into her eyes, seeing the woman I had fallen in love with all those years ago. Anna, I feel the same way. We've faced our darkest moments and come out stronger. I believe in our love and our ability to create a beautiful life together. As we sat there, hand in hand, I felt a profound sense of resolution. The pain of the past had not disappeared, but it had transformed into a source of strength and growth. We had learned valuable lessons about ourselves, about each other, and about the power of forgiveness and love. The resolution of our conflict was not about erasing the past but about embracing it, understanding that it was part of our journey and had shaped us into who we were. We had reached a new state of equilibrium, one based on honesty, mutual respect, and a deep, abiding love. Our conversations became more open and honest, and our connection grew stronger with each passing day. We found joy in the simple things, sharing meals, taking walks, and spending quiet evenings together. We also continued to support each other's personal growth, celebrating our individual achievements and dreams. In the months that followed, we renewed our wedding vows in a small, intimate ceremony with close family and friends. It was a symbolic gesture, a reaffirmation of our commitment to each other and to the journey ahead. Standing before God and our loved ones, we promised to love, honor, and cherish each other, for better or for worse, for as long as we both shall live. The ceremony was a beautiful reminder of how far we had come and how much we had overcome. It was a testament to the power of faith, love, and forgiveness. As we exchanged vows, I felt a deep sense of peace and joy, knowing that we were starting a new chapter in our lives, one filled with hope and promise. Internally, I felt a profound sense of healing and closure. The anger and hurt that had once consumed me were replaced with a sense of acceptance and understanding. I had learned to let go of the past, to embrace the present, and to look forward to the future with hope and optimism. Externally, our relationship flourished. We continued to attend counseling, not because we were in crisis, but because we valued the tools and insights it provided. We also became more involved in our church and community, using our experiences to help others facing similar challenges. In the end, the resolution of our conflict was about more than just healing our marriage. It was about personal growth, spiritual renewal, and the realization that love and forgiveness are powerful forces that can overcome even the deepest wounds. We emerged from our trials stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected than ever before. As we walked back to the car that day in the park, I felt a sense of contentment and gratitude. We had faced our darkest moments and come out the other side, not just intact, but stronger and more united. Our journey was far from over, but I knew that with God's guidance and our unwavering commitment to each other, we could face whatever challenges lay ahead. We drove home in comfortable silence, each of us lost in our thoughts. As we pulled into the driveway, Anna turned to me and smiled. I love you, John. Thank you for believing in us. I leaned over and kissed her, feeling a deep sense of peace and joy. I love you too, Anna. And I always will. With those words, we stepped into our home, ready to embrace the future and all the possibilities it held. We had found our resolution, not in forgetting the past, but in learning from it and allowing it to strengthen our love. And with that, we knew that we could face whatever came our way, together. Update: It's been 5 years since that pivotal day in the park when Anna and I reaffirmed our commitment to each other. So much has changed since then, and yet, some things have remained steadfast: the love we share, our unwavering faith, and the lessons we've learned along the way. Today, as I sit on the porch of our home, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and pink, I can't help but reflect on our journey. Our house, now a little more worn with time, stands as a testament to the resilience and strength of our marriage. The garden, once just a patch of grass, has flourished under Anna's care, blooming with vibrant flowers and lush greenery. It's a symbol of our growth, of the beauty that can emerge from pain. Anna joins me on the porch, carrying 2 cups of tea. We sit together in comfortable silence, savoring the tranquility of the evening. The past years have not been without their challenges, but we have faced them together, hand in hand. Our relationship has deepened in ways I never thought possible. The trust we have rebuilt is stronger, forged through trials and triumphs. Remember when we used to sit here, wondering if we'd ever find our way back to each other? Anna asks, a smile playing on her lips. I nod, taking her hand in mine. I do. And now, here we are, stronger than ever. It hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. We sip our tea, lost in our thoughts. The past 5 years have been a journey of healing and rediscovery. We've continued our counseling, not because we needed it to survive, but because we valued the insights it provided and the opportunity it gave us to continually improve our relationship. We've also become more active in our church, leading a support group for couples facing similar struggles. Sharing our story has been therapeutic, a way to give back and to help others find hope and healing. Our faith has played a central role in our journey. Through prayer, reflection, and a deepening of our spiritual practices, we have found strength and guidance. We've learned that forgiveness is not a one-time event but a continuous process, one that requires patience, compassion, and a willingness to let go of the past. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the landscape, I think about the future. Anna and I have dreams and plans, traveling to places we've always wanted to visit, expanding her art studio, and perhaps even starting a family. The future is filled with possibilities, and we face it with a sense of excitement and hope. John, Anna says softly, breaking the silence, I want you to know how grateful I am for your forgiveness and for the chance to rebuild our life together. You've taught me what true love and commitment mean. I turn to her, my heart swelling with emotion. Anna, I'm grateful for you too. Your courage to face your mistakes and your dedication to our healing have made all the difference. We've built something beautiful out of the ashes, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. As we sit together, watching the stars begin to twinkle in the night sky, I reflect on the impact of our journey. The pain and betrayal that once threatened to tear us apart have become the foundation of a stronger, more resilient love. We've learned to communicate openly, to cherish each moment, and to never take each other for granted. The lessons we've learned extend beyond our marriage. They've taught us about the importance of community, of seeking help when needed, and of the power of faith to guide us through the darkest times. We've become advocates for healing and forgiveness, using our story to inspire others to believe in the possibility of renewal and redemption. Looking ahead, I see a future filled with love, laughter, and continued growth. There will undoubtedly be challenges, but we face them with a deep sense of confidence and trust in each other and in God's plan for us. The journey we've traveled has not only healed our marriage but has also enriched our lives in countless ways. As the night deepens and the world around us grows quiet, I feel a profound sense of peace. The journey of healing and forgiveness has transformed us, not just as a couple but as individuals. We've discovered strengths we didn't know we had and found beauty in the broken places. Anna leans her head on my shoulder, and we sit in silence, content and hopeful. The past is behind us, a testament to our resilience and faith. The future stretches out before us, a canvas waiting to be filled with new memories and adventures. And through it all, one thing remains certain: the love we share, forged in the fires of pain and tempered by faith, is unbreakable. It is the foundation upon which we build our lives, the anchor that holds us steady in the storms, and the light that guides us forward. As we rise to go inside, I take one last look at the starlit sky and offer a silent prayer of thanks. For the journey we've traveled, for the lessons we've learned, and for the promise of all that is yet to come. With Anna by my side and faith in our hearts, I know that we can face anything that comes our way. The journey of healing and forgiveness is never truly over, but as long as we walk it together, hand in hand, I know that we will continue to grow, to love, and to find joy in the gift of each new day.